Everyone, welcome to episode 6 of Independent Artists Unite. I'm Scott Baker Graham, and I'm so thrilled today to have Bruce from the Stave Church. Bruce.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm very honored.
Well, I appreciate you coming. Like I told Bruce butt dialed me earlier. He said it was a mistake.
That was so funny. I literally just got up. I saw your story, which I appreciate very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, I saw your story. I thought I locked the phone. I had just woken up. I'm walking around, and all of a sudden I hear you go, Bruce. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
shit. I've done that so many times. In fact, one time I started an Instagram live video without not even knowing it.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm walking up the stairs and I'm talking to the cats. And it just sounds just ridiculous. And then I realized I'm live on Instagram and I'm just like, turn it off.
I tell you, well, I always end up talking about, I got to be careful not to always talk about the same things when I'm talking to people, but somehow it always comes up about phones and the phones that we grew up with, with the actual landlines and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I still can't do it with the, whenever I'm on, like I'm talking to a friend and, because I got 3 kids. And so they're calling me, and I want to hold and go to the other, and why that is so hard, I don't know. I always hang up on the
Yeah.
person I'm with, and then
Right.
the first thing that my kids hear is me going, "Fuck."
Yes,
All right.
exactly.
So as I put in my Instagram story, to which you referenced, it is a horrible rainy storm we're having in Denmark. Last night, I mean, the wind just like swirling around and literally going and all this
Wow.
stuff. And this morning I had to hop on my bike and had a client I had to get to. And I was like, this is the Stave Church is the perfect soundtrack to this day. And so luckily it was a decent length commute, so that it was like 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back. And
Wow.
I went through your entire catalog, and listened to the song that you wanted to talk to about today, which I'm very intrigued about, that you want to talk about a song called The Floorboard.
Right. Yeah. So that's probably like lyrically the most meaningful song that I've done. And the background on it is
I just want to say before you start that there's something about the floor, because I know on the song Fractured that I had put on this playlist, you also say, "That's me on the floor." So
yes.
that's my
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
that's my Stave Church impersonation.
I love it. I love it. That's funny. Yeah. So maybe there is something that I never really thought about that.
What is it about the floor, Bruce?
I don't know. That's usually where I end up.
Is it a metaphor, or are you?
No, it's
I mean, I used to be a heroin addict, so I identify.
well, congratulations for beating
Yes.
that.
Here's to invisible drinks. Here's to. Oh, maybe.
Well,
Uh,
not only is he a great singer, he's also a great magician.
well, in a sense, that's what we're privileged to be, right?
Yeah,
I
true.
mean, you have these thoughts, you have these, like this lyric is very intense, on the floorboard. You're really, you know, going, mining some existential, questions
Yeah,
here. And I mean, it is magic to go from that thought and to start putting some music to it. I mean, how did this one start? Did it start with the words, or you're originally a drummer, right?
Right, right.
I remember that from your interview with Jimmy from Tokyo Teens, and I can hear that in your music. You got, really cool rhythms going on, and I always think it's cool when people were first drummers, because then everything is kind of rhythmic and cool. I can hear that in your music.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I just love playing drums. And so this did start with music. The floorboard did.
Okay.
And I wanted to do something not really tribal, but just heavy on the percussion.
Yeah.
And so I started off with just a basic beat. And then I thought,
So
let's
you started with the drums, because really the drums is
right.
takes the spotlight in the song. It
Yeah.
drives it along. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did start off with that, and then I added some hand drums in,
Mm.
which I love, and it kind of grew from there, and then added uh, the the keyboard parts later, and then added the lyrics, and so I didn't really have the subject matter chosen at first. It just kind of fell into place. But one thing I do, just to back up to the drums part, is that so that was all acoustic recording. It wasn't,
Yeah.
digital. So I'm going to get back into that, and that's, to me, that's super fun. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean, but it's challenging, right? I mean, you can
it is.
it's like, I mean, I love, I love those kind of intricate drum patterns and stuff like that. Personally, I can't do it because it's you know, it's a trick to mix those things and find, where all those sounds are going to go without eating up everything else. And,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
puzzle, right?
Right, right. Yeah, so I did. So this was in 2019. It's on This Dark Place. And so I did all of the mixing uh, and mastering. I don't know how to do, so I just use a online service. That's
Oh yeah.
basically uh, computer driven, basically. Um, and you can tell, because it like going from one song to the other, it's like, wow, this is, you know like sonically sounds totally different. It's like,
Mm.
really, I just didn't know what I was doing. I'm not a sound engineer. So subsequently I used Blue Door Music Productions in Brighton to do the latest album, and you could tell like a huge difference production wise. It's a
Yeah.
huge difference, and I would totally recommend them, for any kind of project. Yeah, so I guess we could get into the subject matter of the floorboard.
Yeah, I'm wondering, ask people if they'll actually read the lyrics, if you're up for that. I mean, because it is a beautiful just piece of poetry as well.
Thanks. Yeah, let me get some Kleenex. So let me tell you a little bit about it
Okay.
first. So when I got the song together, I had no idea what the lyrics were going to be, and I was sitting around. This is in 2019, and I had this memory came back to me, which I've never forgotten, but
Mm.
I've maybe just kind of subconsciously put aside. But so when I was, I don't know, 3 or 4 or something like that, my parents divorced,
Mm.
and I had a very hard time with it.
Mm.
That young, like I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's your
Uh,
whole world. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
So I continue to have problems. And one of the memories about that whole time period, though, was when my grandmother picked me up from, I don't know, I think it was kindergarten. Um, I used to get in the car and curl up on the floorboard on the front passenger
Oh yeah. Okay.
side. And so that's what the floorboard is in this case.
Wow. Okay.
And I thought, wow, what a little weird kid. I mean,
What a traumatized kid.
yeah, but you know, like uh like looking back on it, and I don't know why I had such a hard time with it. Maybe it was just my age, because people
Mm,
go through this all the time. You know, it's a very common thing. And but I just had a super hard time.
mm,
So yeah, and I thought, man, I used to like every time she picked me up, I would just curl up on the floorboard and I would just so scared, you know, and just
mm.
it was just crazy. So I had this memory of that, and um, so yeah, this is that's what that's about, and that, you know, that's something that you kind of get over, you know, as you grow up, um, but you kind of get over it with baggage, I guess,
Yeah,
and
it stays with you. Yeah, I was just writing about something like that myself. Yeah, it stays with you.
yeah,
I mean, you can go to all the therapy you want. You can do all the go through all the self-help books you want or various programs. And I mean, like you said, I guess you can make some peace with it, but you carry it with you.
right, right, yeah. I mean, it was like my poor mom, and this was after my dad left. My poor
Mm,
mom would take me to kindergarten, and I would kick and scream, you
mm,
know, going in like, "You're not leaving me," you know.
yeah.
And later on, I thought, I I think that happened because um, I had this fear that she would leave too,
Mm,
and you know, I'm like, I'm not. That's not going to happen.
mm,
Yeah, it was just a really bad time, and it probably did have to do with, you know, my age at the time, and not being able to understand, you know, what was going on.
yeah.
But
I think it matters a lot too. I mean, from what I read, because I went through oh yeah, God, I've been through 3 divorces actually, to be honest. But it matters a lot, you know, what just how it's communicated to the kid, you know. I mean, like it really
yeah,
matters, and then it matters really how the parents handle it. You know, so many people don't
yeah,
handle it well, and kind of take the other parent down, and all the kid loves both parents, and so they feel, they feel it's a wound to them, you know, when they hear the one parent taking the other parent down, you know. It's
yeah,
it can get messy real fast.
right, right. And you know, even come around to the thought of, is this my fault? Is it something I did? You know,
Mhm.
because you're young.
Oh,
You
yeah,
don't.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Huh.
And Bruce, I didn't say it, you're coming to us from Houston, Texas.
Yes.
We're going Copenhagen, Denmark to Houston, Texas today. And
Yeah.
it's very cool here today, and I'm gonna guess that it's not cool in Houston, Texas.
You are correct. And guess out of those two places, guess where I would rather be.
But what I'm getting at is, did you grow up in Houston? Or did these events happen in Houston, or was it
Uh, Mostly it was we actually lived in Midland, Texas at the time.
okay.
Um, at the time my parents got divorced. And it was, you know, super long time ago. And we've moved around Houston, Bryan College Station,
Mm,
uh, back to Houston, you know, back to Midland, you know, I mean, just kind of moved around a lot. But yeah, but I was actually born in Louisiana, but yeah, I've been in Texas most of my life,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Um, okay, well now I was wondering why you were now I know why you said do I have a box of tissues? Is it too much to read it, or do you think?
No, 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 no.
Yeah, because I'd love to hear you read it because it's quite yeah, it's quite something.
Yeah, I'll just dive in. Fear of the unknown, chilled to the bone, back is bowing, I don't know where I'm going. Feeling all alone with no real safety zone, falling on the sword, getting scared on the floorboard. Thinking I'm to blame, hand on open flame, it is all by chance, victim of circumstance. Fetus position, helpless condition, heart and mind soared. Time to curl up on the floorboard. That's it.
Wow. Wow,
Okay,
thank you. That was beautiful, man.
let me get that Kleenex.
Well, I didn't, when I heard it, I didn't conceive that it was a child's point of view, and that just makes it gut-wrenching. Yeah. Wow. Well, what a beautiful thing. I mean, that you made this piece of art from that pain. I mean, that's another magical thing that we get to do, you know? It's like presto changeo, the pain I walk with is now this beautiful song, you know?
Yeah.
So I hope that has given you some comfort.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. So that it actually that's a good point. And it did help, I think. Um I have different like feelings looking back on it, like, you know, kind of like regrets of I regret, being that way, like just get
Mm,
over it, kid, move
I
on.
know. Yeah.
But I guess it doesn't always happen that way. But
Yeah. It's funny, when you mentioned the floorboard, I used to get down there too. We had this like one of these huge Pontiac Grand Safari station wagons, from the
yes, yes.
70s. And it's like, I don't even know how it is today because I haven't, it's been a while since I've been on a floorboard, thank God. But it was like just metal and then the streets right down there, right? So you're like you're rumbling there too, right? It's kind of like
Yeah.
it feels a little dangerous down there.
Oh, absolutely. That's funny that you said that because this is not what my grandmother picked me up in. She had a Chevy Impala, like super old, But we had back in this time, we had a Pontiac Catalina station wagon,
Mm,
uh, which I'm sure it was similar, but I
mm.
mean, those
Like
things were tanks, I mean,
like
like
11 miles to the gallon.
I mean, just and that and pure metal. There's no crumple zones or anything. It's like
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because too they'd rust out, and if you pick up the carpet, you just see the road.
yes, yes, that is funny.
Maybe it's not a
Yes,
good idea for the kid to lie down there. You're actually lying on a hammock of the carpet, over a hole.
right. And I'm sure your station wagon too. You spend a lot of time in the back.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's like
I say safety,
what?
safety first.
Yeah, yeah, right. Like what seat belts? You don't need no stinking seat
Yeah,
belts.
like the parental, the parenting then was just get the fuck away from me.
Right.
Like with my mom with her cigarette, like burning
Exactly.
everybody.
The car's just full of smoke.
Um,
Oh gosh.
um, and now for anybody that hadn't heard the Stave Church, I was going along and I've heard everything, and I know there's different types of songs that you've done, but this is my take on it. Is you've often got these really cool like really cool played drums, that almost like I think it was like I have a few comparisons. If like, for instance, if Phil Collins could really roll it back, and he was a member of Sisters of Mercy. You know, that reminds me of the drums. And then, but what I really love and is actually your keyboard parts. You
Thank
know,
you.
and
Thanks.
it's this they're really beautiful melodies, really like these melodies that ride over top everything else that's going on. And that reminded me of like, you know, the keyboards in Joy Division or like The Cure, if they were rolled back a little bit, because there's something so beautiful. And I mean, I do it a lot myself because I have to remember always keep things simple, because there's
Yes.
something so fragile and beautiful and stark, and like it gives you that lonely feeling when it's just a single synth note making a beautiful melody, you know,
Right.
rather than, you know, Elton John doing a chord with both hands.
Right. 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 Exactly. Yeah.
And
Just like running up and down
yeah,
the,
yeah.
yeah.
And that's really that's kind of a defining feature of post-punk, really. You know, it is these keyboard parts that came out, and you know, people were just doing these simple parts, I think probably because they didn't know how to play anything else, but it fits so well, you know.
Yeah.
And
And,
then
and
your vocal reminds me of like you know, if like Peter Murphy could like really dial it back a bit. I mean, a lot of your music, and I love Peter Murphy, but I feel like he became a cartoon of himself and couldn't get out of it, you know? But it's like, I feel like a lot of your songs are like, this is the solo record I wish, you know, Peter Murphy could have made, or this is the song I wish Bauhaus stayed together to make, you know, uh, um,
thank you. Wow.
and
That's
yeah, it's really got that a flavor to me. I mean, it's got a Bauhaus feel to it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the live drums, because so often with this like kind of music you get a drum machine, you know. Um I think and then but also you use a drum machine sometimes, and I always think this is cool when someone's a great drummer, because then the drum machine a lot of times they choose is so simple, like this,
yeah.
because it's really for the effect, you know. You can play anything, but you're choosing these super simple, like almost toy sounding drums to really have a to cool effect, you know.
Exactly. So I mean, that's a great point. And that's one thing I learned early on is don't overplay,
Mm.
you know, and keep it simple. And that is my methodology, is like keep it simple. Going back to the keyboards, I probably do, minimal synth stuff because, I can't do all the other stuff. I
Oh,
mean, I'm
yeah,
not
me
a I'm
too.
not a trained yeah, but it's but I on the other hand, I would probably keep it simple anyway, just because, you know, you're right. I mean, that's this genre of music. That's what it kind of, lends itself to.
Yeah,
Um,
and I guess it's, I just thought of it right now, why it reminds me of Bauhaus, because there's space in there too, you know?
mm,
Like you leave some space in there, and that those single line keyboards, you know, that also allows for some space, you know, when they come in, because like you just don't play it through the whole song. The keyboard a lot of times seems to come in and out, and you're not afraid to leave some space there and just leave the drums grooving in certain sections and things like that.
yeah, and that's a great point too. I do like space. Um, I do like that a lot, and it's funny because it's, sometimes it feels too empty, so you kind of want to, put something in there to fill it up a little bit.
Yeah,
But and then you try that, and then you're like, no, I'll just leave it open.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
But,
what were some of your influences? Um, like what would you describe as some of your songwriting influences?
well, it definitely like goes back to the 80s, and uh, probably the first person I got into 80s wise was in 79. It was Gary Newman.
Okay.
He's a huge influence. John Fox, Ultravox, his solo work, but also Ultravox and Peter Murphy. Bauhaus was huge.
Mm.
I love Peter Gabriel.
Oh yeah.
Especially his early stuff. It's just it's phenomenal. I mean, his stuff now is great too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, that I guess the album they entitled Melt is with Games Without Frontiers on it. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like that. He was like
Yeah,
unto himself. He's just
right.
a category by himself.
Yeah. Yeah, those are like just to name a few. But what's funny too is that I would get this group of people that I would listen to and kind of not branch out.
Me too.
I mean, and people would come up and say, "Hey, have you heard of this?" I'm like, "No, I've never heard of that before." And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm stuck in my little bubble.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I mean, I have to say, I really just stepped out of the bubble recently because I've just been like, I mean, really through our mutual friend Jimmy B from Tokyo Teens, who made me realize that there's a community out there,
Yeah,
um,
right.
and they're doing great music. I was just like in my own little bubble, think I'm making things, I'm making things, I'm making things, and and it's just like, wow, other people are doing really cool stuff, and it's like it's actually so healing for me because have forgotten all these years that I'm first and foremost a fan. Like
Yeah.
I love it. It's like I love geeking out and like I'm Steve Church all day, and then I get to talk to this dude. It's like, the 14-year-old me would be like, yeah, you know, and it's really so cool. And it's like to have this experience. That's why I started, doing this show. Is I was just like, I hear this music and I love this music, and I'm like, I want to talk to this person. Why not? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we tend to like stay in our own worlds a bit,
Yeah.
and I was really
Right.
inspired by Jimmy with his Instagram lives, which is like to
Yeah.
me it takes so much courage. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
the way
He's
the
such
way
a
yeah,
he's such a great guy. I mean,
yeah,
and he's so good for the community, like you're saying. I mean, it's just and he has a great voice too.
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking of you, not me.
Well, I love your voice. I love your voice, and
Thanks.
I mean, it's interesting what you do with it because you like sometimes. I mean, I was gonna say on the floorboard, it's almost like spoken word, maybe with a little bit of of uh, of a lilt to it. So it's just bare somewhere between spoken word and singing, which is like super effective, and it's panning from side to side, so you know that something fucked up's going on. There's weird effects going on. You think something's not quite right with this floorboard business. But it's
Oh, that's
like,
too funny.
and then but then you really do like some crooning, like where we think of Bauhaus or Andrew Eldritch, or you've got this wonderfully gravelly low voice that somehow is like, well, it's the production too, because you it's interesting that it's almost like, I would say even more than Peter Murphy, really, because where Peter Murphy got a lot of his stuff was Iggy Pop. Most people don't realize that that's what was going on there.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a dialed back Iggy Pop, because you can also hear the American kind of, the American twang that Iggy's got in his voice also. Um, Oh wait, he's from Detroit. He was from Detroit, right? Was he? I can't think.
Who,
I think so. Yeah.
who
But
again? I'm sorry.
Iggy Pop,
Oh, you know what? I don't know. That's a good question.
I think he was from Detroit. But yeah, but it's something about that flat, kind of twang was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
coming through there. But
Huh.
it's that it reminds me now. Shit, I should have made a note of what song that was. But it was one of your, like, what I would say, one of your pop songs, that's got this sequence bass, um, and the vocals got that quick slap with a reverb on it that I think was used with Bauhaus quite a bit.
Huh.
That was kind of like
Yeah.
the setup, but it sounds so good. It's like, I kind of have a higher, speaking voice they can hear, but I can sing low, but it's something about, like, I can't do what you do. It's got that crackle. It's got, like, even though it's low, it's got this high end crackle to it.
Huh. Well,
I don't know. Is
it,
that Marlboro Reds or what is that?
well, that's that's funny that you said that because I on purposely do vocals maybe like first thing in the morning, when you're like, you
Yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so it's kind of similar to that. But yeah, or just kind of like start yelling and kind of tear up your voice a little
Yeah,
bit, and
man.
then go.
Oh my God. You know what I did? I had COVID back in
Mm,
I guess that was, like, it was around Christmas of this past year, and I had, like, it's like my voice dropped down like 2 steps,
yeah.
and I was fucking feverish. I said, I gotta record some songs like this.
Yes,
And so
yes.
it's called Morbidities because I was feeling so. Did you get COVID?
I did, yes.
Because one of the things when I had it is, like, yeah, the voice drop, but it was mental. I got super depressed, when
Yes,
when I
yes.
got COVID. And so I just wrote like 4 of these, like, horribly depressed songs, and I was feverish. And so I was just, like, using sequences or loops that I found, and then I was just singing this over top.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And then
No.
and then I took a picture of myself with the fever and put it on the cover.
Yes. Where can I find that? I would love to hear that.
Oh, that's on Spotify, but I'll send you a
On Spotify. Okay,
I'll send you
because
a link to it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess the only thing that's on Bandcamp is Young Lovers, right? Um,
Yeah, because I was thinking about this. I was never on Bandcamp before.
yeah.
And it's such a wonderful, first of all, thank you for buying Young Lovers on Bandcamp. Uh,
Dude, it is
it,
I would say thank you because it is truly very, very, very excellent. And your vocals, I mean, just blew me away. I
oh,
mean,
thank you.
there's so much David Bowie in there.
Oh yeah.
I
Well,
mean, it's
yeah,
like
yeah. He was he
I'm
was
like
he was my idol for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
like, shit, is this David Bowie?
Yeah, well,
No, it's so
the
good.
jury's still out of whether that's ever helped me or hurt my career.
No, but I really enjoy that EP a lot. It's super, super good.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had it actually was, Renee, the face spotter from
Mhm,
the
mhm.
from Let's Have a Moment of Silence for Procession magazine.
Yes.
Horrible, but he did a review um of it, and he said, "But where can people buy it?" And I was like, "Buy it? What's that?" And this is the beautiful thing about, if anybody's here, I mean, it's like such a wonderful thing that you can do for an artist to go to Bandcamp and buy their music. I mean, it is like, it's like every time someone buys music from independent on it's like it's like an angel gets its wings, or it's like some
Yeah,
some
yeah,
some a little of the hurt heals, you know what I mean?
yeah,
A
yeah,
little
absolutely.
of the hurt heals in this fucking industry.
Right, right.
So
Yes.
so thank you so much. That's just so wonderful. But I was wondering about, should I put everything on there, or should I, just go from this point forward um for Bandcamp, because I've kind of done a lot of different things, and like, I mean, it's one thing that you've done with Stave Church is that you're definitely in this category. You're in this punk, post-punk category, or with the goth tinges, and so people know who you are. And I was talking with Jimmy, like, when you step outside of that, you get punished a bit with the streams, right?
Right,
You were
right.
talking about when you changed it up after you had the success with Shattered, right? Or
Yeah, right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
And
actually, not quite right was the the first song that I did, and that was well accepted, and then everything else
and but
after
but
that
but what
kind
was
of
that?
went.
What was that first song called?
Not quite right.
Oh, not
That was
quite right. That's right. All right. I
yeah.
said it
So
was
that was
Shattered. I got it wrong. Yeah.
yeah. Shatter came like a couple of songs after that,
Okay. Okay.
which I love that. Actually, my wife Kelly did the vocals on that, which I thought was super cool.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. But you were talking about Forever, right? Was the follow up to it?
Oh yeah, yeah. And it was
And
like people were like, no.
yeah, but it's like people are so fickle, because to me that's totally in the same ballpark, but it's just a little bit different because it's got this groove to it, and it's a little off tempo and heavier on the keyboards, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not sure,
yeah,
but I mean,
yeah. It was a, but yeah, I guess you have to keep, I was happy with it, and that's all that's important.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you
If people
can't
don't
write
like
for other
it,
people. Yeah,
right. So, but
that's a losing game every time. Try to guess what
yeah,
people want.
but it was an eye opener though, because people were like, we want more, not quite right.
Mm.
I'm like, and I thought this wasn't too far off the mark, like you were saying, but I guess it was in a lot of people's minds. But so I'm like, I'm just gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, I guess this is also like I mean, of this the kind of culture that we're in now, which is like the single culture. It's like you kind of live or die by the single, and not what, like, we grew up buying albums, and I mean, I don't know about you, but it's like my favorite songs were never the singles. So, I was so excited, it was always a deep cut that was my favorite one,
Yeah, 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 exactly. Right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And that goes back to, what we were saying about earlier about staying in your bubble of
Mhm.
stuff that you listen to. And I think we did that a long time ago because, we didn't have, Bandcamp. We didn't have,
Oh yeah.
all this online stuff. And, like you had to go to either like maybe a college radio station
Mm.
to listen to some new stuff, or just go to the record store and
New albums. Yeah.
yeah, and check stuff out and kind of go from there. I've purchased a couple of albums before as a kid, just based off the cover.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh
like
yeah.
I had no idea what the music was, but I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
I mean, I remember so much of I mean, I did that with Bauhaus, just
Mhm.
it was like that picture of what was on the cover of there. It wasn't a vampire on the cover. It was some kind of I think it was a naked man actually going through a door or something weird like that. But it was called Bela Lugosi's Dead, and of course I bought it. I had no idea what the fuck it was.
Well,
How
and
could you not buy something called Bela Lugosi's Dead?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Which actually just hit the was it 43rd anniversary? It was either today or
Oh,
yesterday.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That's
I think it was
amazing. Wow.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, because I bought that when it came out
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this indie record store. Yeah, amazing. Well, I don't want to keep you holy shit, we've talked for almost 45 minutes, Bruce. What the hell are we doing? 40 minutes. Time flies.
It,
Um,
it
but
does. It,
yeah, but I really enjoyed this. And when are we going to see something new from the Stave Church? And can you tell us where you got the name, the Stave Church? I'm curious.
so I went. So in 1982, I went to Norway, and
Ah,
I went to the Fantoft Stave Church, kind of outside of Bergen,
okay.
and was just blown away by this.
Mm,
You know, 100% wood. It's black, so I'm like,
mm.
yeah, yes. And but just the architecture of it was, I mean, to me, I was just blown away by it, and so that stuck with me for years. And then when
So
28,
it's really Stewa Kieka.
yes, 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 that's my next project.
No, but I noticed that when I came to Denmark, we like I married my wife here, and then we moved back to Denmark. I mean to New York City, and then we came back to Denmark, and I've been here for like 13 years. And when we
Wow,
went on our honeymoon, we went all around Denmark, and I couldn't believe the churches because I never thought until I was in Europe um, of how what a young country the U.S. is. You
right?
know that you don't have
Yes, yes.
these churches that have been there for like thousands of years that are like really works of art. You know, it's the
Oh
same
yeah,
thing in Denmark. It's crazy.
yeah. And it, you had the guy from Burzum that I guess burned down a few of them or something because
Mm,
he, just and to me, it's not about the religious part. It's about, the actual aesthetic beauty of this
yeah,
structure.
yeah.
And
Oh, cool. Yeah.
so, yeah,
And so now when are we?
unfortunately,
Okay.
no, he actually burned down the one that I saw in 1982,
Oh,
and
wow.
and then they rebuilt it.
Mm,
So I actually saw it before it burned down.
okay.
And people love that dude, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I just have no respect for anybody that like ruins shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just why?
Yeah.
Make your statement in another
Write a
way.
song about it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And when do we? Are you working on anything new, or when do we see something new from the Stave Church?
So this year has been a little different. I did a couple of remixes. Um, I did a couple of collaborations, and working on another collaboration. So it's kind of been more of a, not focused on kind of what I'm doing this year, but I may try to put out something by the end of the year. Maybe it's probably going to be a single
Yeah.
because, I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I finally gave up, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
yeah,
Now I'm doing singles every 6 weeks. You know.
yeah, well, no, that's great. It just takes me too long, you know,
Oh yeah,
to to do like a full album. I can't, it's just,
yeah, yeah,
the time that we have to spend on this is not great. And so yeah. So probably gonna focus on singles more so.
yeah. Well, I'm totally looking forward to it, man. And let's talk again when you have the next collab done, or when you do the next single. I eagerly await the new
Okay,
Stave
great.
Church. Yeah,
Great.
and
Well, thank
yeah. Thanks so much for doing this, man. It was great
no,
to
thank
connect
you.
with you like this. Yeah.
Appreciate no, I thank you so much. And I just wanted to mention one more time, congratulations on your EP. It's
Oh, thank
wonderful.
you, thank you.
Everybody should go out and get it.
Yeah,
Young,
I just want to say that I took a step up by having James K. Ultra from Pain in the Yaz do this remix of Young Lovers.
yes,
And
yes.
I was so blown away. It's like you mentioned with was it Blue Door?
Right.
Studio. Um, I mean, he's just like a crazy genius, mad scientist, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
we're communicating. I don't know how your collaborations go, but we're like communicating, you know, over you know, sending voice messages over Instagram, and with like little mixing notes, and then he sends me a file, and I listen to it, and we're 6 hours difference, and you know,
Yeah.
in a matter of 3 days, we had this mix,
That's
and
awesome. Yeah.
it was like when I heard that, I was like, I forgot about 40 years of frustration as a rock and roller. And then I was saying like,
Yeah.
ah, you
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? When that
Yeah.
you get that playback, the morning cup of coffee, and it sounds fucking great. It's just like, I'm okay
Yes.
now. I'm okay now.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing what we can do now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Too bad it didn't come earlier, but yeah.
but here we
Super.
are. Thank God, you know, thank the gods,
Oh,
thank
yes.
whomever, you know, we're here and can still do this, and it's so much fun. I really look forward to you know, when you do your next thing, and we'll keep in touch over the old Instagram.
That sounds good. Well, thank you
All
so
right,
much
man.
again. I really appreciate it, Scott.
Yeah, talk to you soon, man.
Okay.